Hey folks, in this video I'm going to show you how I ran the power and the ground cables all the way from the battery to the back of my 2021 Ford F-150. Now just as a recap for the folks who have seen this video for the first time, in my previous video I did show you how I wired the left and the right rear speakers in the 2021 Ford F-150, and now we are looking at the power connections to complete this setup. Start with the battery terminal. This is a completed setup. You'll see with the positive red terminal of the battery, there is a 4-gauge OFC wire that runs into a 60 amp breaker. Now using a breaker instead of a switch has its own advantages. One is that you can switch on and off anytime you want, and then also if it switches you don't need to replace any fuses. Now you must have seen that I have used a mesh wire loom, a plastic wire loom, and some cloth tape just to make sure the apparatus looks clean and also match with the factory wiring in the bonnet, under the hood. Now on the driver's side, if you carefully look, you'll find a rubber grommet from which all the wiring is going into the cabin. Now this grommet has zip ties on both ends, and it can be accessed through the inside of the cabin, just underneath where the driver sits. Now let's take a look at how it looks like from the inside. So this is the grommet that I was talking about. You can run the wire from the outside to the inside of the cabin through this grommet and zip tie it back. Now the wire runs all the way into the trim on the left hand side. Now you can easily remove the trim on the left and the right hand side if you want to wire anything inside the cabin. You can see that the wire is running under a wire loom and is properly zip tied to the rest of the cables. Now we move to the back of the truck. Now I had to use a wire snake to get the wire from the front to the rear of the pillar. Now it goes all the way to the back of the truck. I was able to push the wire just by hit and trial all the way to the rear end, which is behind the seat, and you can see that the wire comes out where you want it to. Well, finally the wire goes into a two-way distribution block. This is a fused distribution block with a 20 and a 30 amp fuse. I'm using a 20 amp for this circuit. Eventually I take out an 8-gauge wire from this distribution block and connect it further to a 16-gauge fused wire that came with kicker subwoofer. And this wire eventually goes into the Molex plug that connects to the powered sub. Now for the ground wire connection, I'm using a 8-gauge OFC wire running from the Molex plug to the right side of the truck, just behind the rear passenger seat. If you remove the trim on the right rear passenger behind the seat, you'll see there is an existing connection to the ground. I used the same ground connection and connected the wire. Now that completes the power and ground wire connection. If you're interested in tapping the speaker wires, then you can watch my other video. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful.